What's going on, guys? Kigerr here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over Thor and Hulk in all game modes, what they're good at, what they're bad at, if they're worth investing in, things like that. Before we jump into the video, I'd like to announce I'm doing another giveaway. For my 1500 subscriber milestone, I'm doing a giveaway for this robe, not the one on my body right here, but the same exact one I'll send to your doorstep. There will be a code word towards the end of the video. Put that code word, space, and what you liked or disliked about the video in the comment section down below, and you'll be entered into the giveaway. The giveaway will be next Friday. Let's get into it. Alright, so first we're going to start off with Thor. Thor's pretty interesting. His base numbers is when you get him up, he's going to be giving you defense and attack, which is kind of lazy in my opinion. I think they could have went a lot further with this and gave you shock or something else. Like, he's the god of thunder. They should be giving you something to go along with him. What I do like is the collection stat bonus is accuracy, which if you're familiar with the lore for Thor, Heimdall, who protects the Bifrost, he's the all-seeing. So in his lore, giving accuracy seems pretty cool. I like that. That obviously the collection stat goes up as you get stars. But as far as the ability, Thor's ability is very confusing for a lot of people because of the translation. It doesn't do what it says it does. It's very similar to other abilities in the game. Think of him as the shock version of Ghost Rider, really. So when we read it right here, he slams his hammer on the ground, releasing thunder and electrocution nearby, dealing damage. More damage is dealt to enemies with shock, which stacks. That's that last part that's off. Which stacks. It does not stack. What it means is with shock stacks. So if you look up at the top, Roaring Thunder, cooldown 30 seconds. When attacking shocked targets, does 33% more damage. And then right under that, it says when attacking targets with shock stack. So what that means is Star-Lord has to do stacks before, well, Star-Lord and what's her face, Storm, when they have to stack up shock before it actually shocks them. So even with one shock stack, you should be able to get that 33% damage. That adds up with the testing that myself and others have done. And when Thor does that, he also applies his own shock, which is a higher version of shock, much like Ghost Rider's burn is a higher version of burn. This does attack down by 30%. Now, just to show you what the animation looks like, let's take a look at it. Summons does that thunder and then slams the hammer. So the actual animation of slamming down the thunder doesn't do anything. It's just a graphical thing. And then when he actually lands on the ground and then slams with his hammer, boom, that is the actual damage. Now let's get into Hulk. Alright, so now we have Hulk. Hulk is pretty interesting. So if we look at the collection effect is HP, so as he goes up in stars, you'll just overall have HP, don't have to even think about it. His bonus effects are HP and attack, so he gets a lot of HP everywhere. I would say this is lazy, just like Thor's, but specifically Hulk, because of how he works, I think this HP and attack is exactly what you're wanting. So if we look over here at the actual skill, he uses a 43-second cooldown, which is longer than most of them, and you'll see that's because he stays on the battlefield for 15 seconds. So once he's gone, it's really a 28-second cooldown, which is less than everything else. Um, but you don't have the initial effect. He also gets 100% of your HP and a percentage of your attack. So that's why HP collection stat, HP 5-star, and attack 6-star are definite things that build towards what he's trying to do here. When you click the button and summon him, he does an initial provoke for 3 seconds. And he also crashes doing a knockdown at that same time. Then he just starts chasing them around and punching them around. What's special about him is that he just keeps running around and punching. And if we look right here, when you level up the skill, the only thing that changes is how much of your attack transfers to him. So let's take a look at the actual ability. He comes down, that green circle, and then much like Maestro, I think they took the same Maestro particles and gave him that ability. That initial green area right here, that green circle, that initial circle is the taunt and knockdown. And then after the 3 seconds, he's just randomly punching and jumping and doing whatever. He's also a targetable enemy with the same HP as you. So he's giving you HP from 5-star, and he's giving you HP for collection bonuses. And that's stacking on top of your HP, and then he's like 100% HP shield. We're going to go over use cases next. First, let's go over Thor. So Thor's going to be a very interesting one, and that's because of the 33% bonus, and starting off at about 700 damage for the actual slam. The question is, does this, with Star-Lord, no one's really playing Shock Star-Lord, does this change things? Are you able to make quick use of this with, let's say, Widow? That's been some questions with Sticky Bomb into Thor, or Trap Delusion to Thor. There's also been the questions about Storm. I've seen in 2 of the 3 regions I play in, people saying Thor is Storm's best friend. Now, when you look into it, we have the single target kings such as Icarus or Daredevil, whose percentages are a lot higher. But once you add the 33% onto Thor, he still does not match up with Icarus for single target. As far as AoE is where we're in a different story. Thor, with Storm specifically, or we've had a little bit of testing with Star-Lord, but we currently don't have a Shock Star-Lord person to really look into. But we've tested around with some abilities to see what we're looking at. And the Shock Star-Lord is mostly just trying to keep their attack down and whittle them down. Sustained damage is how most games term it. But with Storm, has some pretty good Electro Ball and things like that, where she can go Electro Ball Thor and then have a nice big AoE chunk. This could be good in Invasion or other kinds of PvE content. It can also do some interesting things in War. It does not have any real advantages for Dimensional Duel. As far as Widow, Widow normally in those game modes does ult into Trap Deluge, and then ends up doing the job already. What I do need to mention is Thor is surprisingly good for Storm just because Donna Ports and Athena, Donna Ports specifically though, a lot of people have been using Donna Ports because she gives type damage up, which, let's say if you were doing shock, she would give you this 15% shock damage bonus. Before this update, there was not a limit on types of damage, but it would be a lower return. So 15% would be more like 7.5, and then scale down and down after you get to 100% shock or whatever stat, shock, burn, or chill. But now it's a hard cap at 100. So if this 15, or as it scales up, puts you above 100%, it doesn't do anything for you, and then you'll be served well to move over into Thor. Last but not least, let's check out Hulk. Alright, so for Hulk, in this update, there's been several changes to how taunt kind of works, and it appears as though, let's say I am targeting you at the beginning of the match in Dimension Duel, for example. Then I summon Hulk, Hulk taunts you, he takes your target lock and puts it on him. That's not just for the 3 seconds during taunt, that is just, it has now been shifted over to Hulk. And then you have to untarget, move around Hulk somehow with his big bulky body, and then target me again. Which puts you in a weird situation where you're trying to deal with me as you normally would, while also trying to play this, what we're now kind of calling the Hulk dance. And what that is once you have that target lock thing situated, people are trying to stay behind their Hulk while still targeting the opponent. Hulk is kind of slow, but he's really bulky. So as far as the targeting system, we all know how the targeting system in this game is. If you can stay behind or near your Hulk, you can use him as a body blocker. And as I said, he has 100% of your HP, so he's effectively a full HP shield for you. Now, this is being sort of abused in some instances with 2 characters specifically. Spider-Man, because he has a move where he can make a hologram image of himself that is a targetable enemy. When you have that and Hulk on the board at the same time, you really mess with your opponent's targeting system. If this becomes more pronounced, then you can see more AoE type skills happening where, sure, I'm targeting your Hulk, but I'm also going to hit you in the crossfire. The other character who's seeing benefits from this is Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange for 2 reasons. Same skill, but 2 different abilities. One is the clones, where he summons 2 clones that are viable targets. The second is a taunt target, where he goes backwards, leaves a single clone of himself, and does a taunt. So you can have this interesting situation where you go Hulk, taunt fizzles out, they finally are able to target you, Strange clone, taunt, and then now they have to play around that Strange clone, get past the Hulk, and then target onto you while you're shotgunning them with the Fast and Furious Strange. The other character who can do really well with things like this, but people aren't really looking at yet, is Magic. And I say that because if you look at my Magic videos before, I recommended doing the Imps to do a similar strategy. You can also do the Commander, who takes some of your damage. So ends up being like a mini Hulk. That also you can see it as a direct damage reduction, or DR in D&D terms. What I like a lot about Hulk is leveling his skill almost does nothing. It increases his basic attack damage, and if you're moving at all, he can't ever basic attack you. He's just a wall. So raising the skill level is almost useless, making him a very, very budget-friendly choice here, which I like to see. Now, the closest comparison would be Gilgamesh, and with Gilgamesh, when he scales up, it's damage and a stun duration, which is a lot. But this scales up a little bit. As you see, I have it at 8. I'm believing it caps out at close to 3 seconds, whereas Hulk's initial taunt, is 3 seconds already. Gilgamesh is a highest guard break, so it does guard break damage, which you have to weigh the pros and cons of that. And then also, if we look at Gilgamesh's skill, he immediately does the stun, whereas if we look over at Hulk, he kind of does a charge up and then does the taunt. So Hulk is a better CC, taunt versus stun, but Gilgamesh is easier to land and almost instant, which gives it to you right where you need it. But Gilgamesh stays around and does his punching and such as well, as you see in the thing right here, throwing punches to deal damage. But he's not targetable, which the main thing people are doing here is the targetable aspect of Hulk. Let me know in the comment section down below how you feel about Hulk and Thor and what you would like to see next time. Alright guys, you made it to the end of the video, which means it's time for the code word. The code word is going to be 1500. 1500 space and then what you liked or disliked about the video to enter the giveaway for the robe. Till next time, guys.